I'm just showing you again how you can more tightly wound each paper straw if you use a pencil shaped object and then glue it at the end. Okay, now that you have probably like 100 paper rolls, you could start with 50 and then just make more after you use the first 50. You're going to flatten them out with a ruler with your fingers. I tried a rolling pin, so you can see what works best for you to get each paper roll straw flat. You're going to start with your first paper roll and you're going to tightly wound it all around itself. You're basically making it into a circle, and you're going to add each paper roll to the circle. You're making a wider and wider circumference using a little bit of glue, and I tightly use my fingers, so I am going to get it all together. It might kind of get loose and you just keep kind of squeezing it together with your fingers, but you want it nice and tight all the way around. Also, you can put one straw into the other. You'll see that in the video, but you don't necessarily have to do that. When starting for the first time, if you haven't made a paper bowl before, you are going to maybe want to just do a smaller one for your first one and not plan on your first project turning out. So keep it in mind that you might make two. It's going to be very normal for some of your pieces to come undone while you're trying to roll it. It's going to get looser. You'll realize it's not as tight as you thought it was glued. Just keep trying to glue it together and holding it together, and you can go back and fix some mistakes. So that's totally normal. You'll get more used to it and ready to fix your loose ends with some glue. You may have to take a couple seconds to just firmly hold it together. The glue usually sets a little bit, it might take 4 to 5 seconds, and then you can put your next piece on. You can think about how big your base is going to be, which means when are you going to stop making your circle, which is going to look like a coaster, the size of a cup coaster, or it could be the size of a small plate. And that is where you end part 2 by having that circumference plate shaped object where you're going to build on that for part 3. So you can decide how big you're going to have an end product by how big your base is going to be. The circle in the video right now is going to be a pretty large base. I'm trying to make a pretty good sized bowl, which is not probably the best to do for your very first bowl. A smaller one is better to start with. Okay, so now you have it all glued together. You could even put a little bit of extra glue and let it set for a little while so you know it's not going to fall apart. It's nice and secure for your next stage of the craft project.